Hi there. So welcome to lesson 2 of the Etsy SEO training. So in our last lesson, we talked all about shop optimization and how exactly we can prepare our shops for traffic and how to function in a way that turns our browsers into buyers. And for this lesson, we're going to start our discussion on relevant terms, or you may know them as keywords, which is by far one of the most asked questions from my community. So I'm really excited to finally get a complete answer out there for you so you can start growing your business. So let's get started. So relevant terms is probably one of the most important components of your entire Etsy SEO strategy. So these keywords that you find and use as your tags and titles are one of the factors that contribute to your Etsy ranking. So how that works is your customer types in a search term in Etsy's search bar and they wait for a result, right? It's then Etsy's job to look through each and every listing and display in front of that user the most relevant listings. So they want to place in front of them something that they are actually looking for, so they are more likely to purchase something. So what Etsy does is they go through a variety of criteria to determine which listings are the most relevant, which include relevant terms or keywords, which you determine what keywords are associated with your products when you select your titles and tags. And the goal here is to select keywords that are identical or similar to the search terms that your customers are using to find your products. And of course, it's not as simple as that. You also have to take into account competition. So how many other people are using that same keyword? You have to take into account engagement from that keyword and so on and so forth. But we'll discuss all of that in the upcoming lesson. Listing quality, which are listings that are being clicked, favored, or purchased. Customer experience, so things like how well your reviews are, and recency, which is how long ago your listing has been reviewed or renewed rather and purchased. So as you can imagine, the keywords you select for your tags and titles are going to be one of the main indicators to Etsy that your product is the right product for the Etsy user who is searching for them. And therefore, we're going to want to pay close attention to the keywords we select to give us the better chance of showing up in that first page of that Etsy search. Okay, so you may be asking yourself, how exactly do I find the best keywords for my listing? So finding relevant terms or keywords is a two-step process. So step number 1 is keyword research, which is the act of finding keywords that you think are good, and keyword analysis, which is the act of taking those keywords you think are good and finding out if they're actually going to convert into traffic for you. So in order to have a solid SEO strategy, you have to do both steps. I've come across many cases where sellers do one or the other. So they find keywords that they think will convert and slap them into their titles and tags and wait for the traffic to come in. Or they try and find their keywords through keyword analysis and let the numbers decide which keywords they should put in their titles and tags, even if that keyword has nothing to do with what their product is actually about, which I like to call selecting your keywords for a computer to read and not for a human to read. So for this lesson, we're going to be talking about keyword research, so finding keywords from a human perspective so you can analyze them later. And in our next lesson, we'll take those same keywords that we come up with now and analyze them. And we're going to condense our list down, and then we're going to select our final 13 tags for our listing. So without further ado, let's get started. So as I mentioned before, this keyword research phase is all about finding relevant keywords from a human perspective. So we're going to go through a variety of exercises to come up with keywords without looking into any analytics or data. And remember, these are real live people who are typing in these search terms, so you have to put yourself into their heads and think as they would, not as a computer would think. And my personal process for this is starting very broad and then gradually narrowing down the keyword terms by asking myself questions. And you'll see what I mean in a minute. So if you remember from our last lesson, this is my sample Etsy shop. And you may be asking yourself, is this the same shop? And it is. So I completed our homework from the last lesson and did a complete rebrand of the shop. So our shop cover here is a better design. It's not as busy as the last one was. I have some featured items here that I've included, so whoever lands on the shop will see those listings first. And if we scroll down, you'll notice that the listings are rearranged to help our customers browse for the items better. And we even have a shop section over here, which not only helps our customers browse, but it also serves as a way to reel people in on individual listings in that similar listing section off to the side. So if we also scroll down some more, you'll see that we have an about section. So that gives a human component to my shop. And finally, and most importantly, there is now a shop policy section, which is going to answer a lot of the questions our potential customers may have and outline the rules of our shop. So by far, we have a pretty optimized shop, and I can confidently say that I'm ready to get some traffic in. So I'm going to pick a listing to work for my SEO. So I think that the first listing I want to work on is this business planner. That seems like a good place to start. So my very first step is going to be to brainstorm items or brainstorm ideas of what this product is and what it's about. I'm not going to think too hard about this. This isn't going to be my final list of keywords. So I just want to think of some phrases and terms that come to my head along with corresponding questions with them. And I'm going to list them in the end. Okay, so I'm going to think of a broad and basic term for my business planner listing. And then we're going to ask ourselves a series of questions so we can narrow this down even more. So I'm going to walk through the process a little bit. So you're going to want to take one topic or relevant term. It can be one that resonates with you the most or one that you feel describes your product the best. And then you're going to want to brainstorm subtopics by asking yourself questions. And think of at least 3 subtopics for each question that you ask. So the idea is to create a web of related keywords stemming from that one general topic. And these are the keywords you're going to be analyzing in the next lesson. So if you're having a hard time coming up with a subtopic or keywords, then just move on to another keyword until you find one that you can expand upon. So in my case, I'm going to expand upon the keyword business planner. So business planner, it describes my item well, but I think it can also be unpacked a little bit more to make it more specific. So I'll walk you through each of the questions. Now keep in mind these questions and how you ask them are going to be relevant to you and what you're selling. So for example, for me, this what question would be something like, what is a business planner? And for that, I would say my business planner is a PDF file. It's printable, and it's a workbook. But for you, it could be, what is it made of, or what are you selling? What occasion is it for? What color is it? What materials were used? What style is it? And so on and so forth. So when you're answering your questions, keep your customer in mind and ask the same questions that they would ask. Okay, moving on. So why would someone need a business planner? And they would need a business planner for help with their business, to have a reliable organizer, and to use as a guide. How would they use this planner? They would use it with the planner templates that are provided. They would use it for the worksheets. And they would also use it to go through the business plan that we offer. Okay, so where do they use this planner? I would say they use it online or as a digital download. And then they could use it inside of a binder and via PDF files. So I'm going to skip over which for now because there's not really a keyword that pertains to my product under this section. The only thing I can really think of is which business planner is the best, but that's not a keyword that I can use. I could use that in my description if I wanted to, but it wouldn't be a keyword. So we're going to move on. So move on to the last question. When can they use this planner? And they can use this planner instantly. And it's also a self-paced planner. And additionally, this planner specifically was made with a 2019 calendar. So I'm going to add that as well. Okay. And also, before I move on, I wanted to mention two great resources that you can use to help with your keyword research. And one of those being Answer the Public. So if you go onto Answer the Public website and you type in your main keyword phrase into the search bar and hit Get Questions, when it redirects you to your keyword search, you're going to see something similar to a pinwheel below, and there's multiple of them. So you can just look through each of them. But they give you multiple questions involving that keyword. So this gets you thinking about the types of questions your customers may be typing into the search bar to find, or just questions that they have in general. So from there, you can find questions that most relate to your product and give you the ability to develop keywords from them. Or you can also answer that particular question when you're typing your description and taking your photos. So doing this will capture your audience, and they will be more likely to buy your item if they know it's going to solve whatever problem that they have. In addition to that, if you keep scrolling down, we run into this section. And so this is one of my favorite sections, and it's really going to help you with building those really good long tail keywords. And it's also really good if you can't think of any other keywords, or maybe you have two business planners that are similar to each other, but you don't want to repeat those same keywords. So this is going to give you a lot more options and a lot more keywords that you can think about for each letter of the alphabet. And like I said before, it's just really good at building onto your keyword to make long tail keywords. So like I would like something like business planner kit, a business life planner, and things like that. So Answer the Public is a really good resource if you're just looking for some extra help with finding your keywords. And another resource you can find is right on Etsy. So Etsy gives you access to the most popular search terms directly in your shop manager page. And the difference is that these are search terms that your customers have searched that led them directly to your product listing. So this works the best if you're a seasoned seller, and if you generated some stats to go off of. If you're a brand new seller, you won't have access to this because Etsy doesn't have any data for you yet. So to access your Etsy stats, go to your Etsy shop manager, which is right up here. And once you're on your Etsy shop manager, off to the left-hand side of the page is a list of tabs. And you'll just click on the stats tab, and this will redirect you to your stats page. And if you scroll down until you hit the words search terms, these are the terms that people are finding your shop and items with. And as you can see, there's been one person who has found my listing by using the phrase self-care planner, which honestly, I'm so surprised that I even showed up on a search. But if you wanted to look for keywords for a self-care planner, I would want to use this phrase because people are going to find me by it. Okay, awesome. So let's take each of these phrases and turn them into searchable terms. So we're going to go back to our workbook. So obviously, I want to stick with the term business planner. I'm interested to see how the data will look on this term, so let's add that to our list. Okay, so I also like the idea of Business Planner 2019. I feel like that's something I would search for as a consumer, so I'm going to add that to my list as well. Let's see, I also like, I also like business plan. I'm just putting stars next to ones I like to make it go by faster so I can remember them. But we're going to add business plan. Let's see. I also like business planner PDF. So let's say business planner PDF. All right, let's see. To go by faster, I'll just put stars by them and we'll work through it in our next lesson. So I'm going to say I like business planner workbook. I like business planner binder, business guide, business organizer. I also like business help too. Business planner templates is good. And then business planner printable. And yeah, that looks good. So I also wanted to mention that you can definitely use plurals or different variations of the same keyword and analyze those too. So if one term doesn't have good data, the other variation might be better suited. So for example, I can analyze for business plan, but I can also analyze for the term business planning to see which one performs better. So similarly, I could look and see which one performs better for a printable planner or planner printable. So things like that, just playing around with the phrasing of each term, the plurals and the ordering of the words so you can determine which one has the better data. And now that we have multiple phrases and terms that we can work with that I'm interested in analyzing, we can move on to analyzing our keywords in our next lesson. But I did forget to mention that this workbook that I'm using is a resource that I sell called the Etsy SEO Planner. And I use this planner for every single listing that I develop keywords for. And I usually print it out and write on it with pen and paper, but it was just easier to add text boxes to it for the sake of this training. But if you're interested in having this workbook so you can work through your SEO strategy along with me, I'll leave a link to it down below if you haven't purchased it already. Okay, so there we go. So now that we have a list of keywords that our customers are most likely going to search for in our next lesson, we're going to take those same keywords and look at their data. And we have real life human phrases that we thought of ourselves. So that means our customers are most likely going to be searching for them as well. So now we can just filter through them to find the ones that are going to be that's going to have the most search potential. So I'll see you there. I can't wait.